Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County for Wednesday, March 13th, 2019. I am the Nighthawk, along with our studio director, Zach, and on the panel, we were just talking before the show.
Boy.
May 15th will be the next time together.
That'll be likely.
And it's possible, if David's here for that show, that would be his last one through the summer, because he partakes in the Wednesday night Twilight Golf League.
So faithful viewers get a good look at us tonight.
Yeah. So Duke, you won't be here next week, so I just want to let you know, you may have forgotten this, but next week will be 16 years.
Is that right?
We've been on the air.
Wow.
2003, so we will be embarking onto our 17th season. And who would have known that we would have turned this show into a Puzzler Prize Award winning sports show?
I might at least check in. I might at least call you next week.
So,
wow. That's
not
I wonder what the news was this week.
Well, David, let me put it this way. Coincidence? I think not. Last week I wore my Bryce Harper hoodie. Okay. He's gone. This week, Odell Beckham gets traded last night. He's gone. Now, I'm going to inquire, do you have a David Handy jersey? Because if you do, you give me that. You'll be working for Kia.
Okay.
So, all I can say is...
Hey, we got a call already. I expect we'll get a lot of calls tonight.
All I can say before I say hello is I'm ecstatic. So, good evening. You're the first caller tonight on the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County. Hello.
I was trying to find a gospel song. I've been looking on YouTube here, looking for a gospel song that would be appropriate. Well, I just didn't have the time. This is Praise the Lord.
Yes.
You guys are East Side too?
This is addition by subtraction.
Really? Praise the Lord Almighty.
Hallelujah.
Is that right? You're all sides?
Is God. The cancer has been rid of the New York Giants.
Yes.
I mean... Praise God Almighty.
Didn't Gettleman say he wouldn't trade him at one point?
I couldn't be happier.
He never said that.
I mean, the man was a total cancer to that football team, and God bless the Browns. I'm glad he's gone to where it's going to be cold and where it snows a lot. And I hope he can find God there.
Browns might be a
Cleveland.
pretty good team.
And I hope he straightens out his act, because obviously he's quite talented, as you know. But even though they say he's the most beloved in the dressing room of the New York Giants, he's probably the most hated receiver in the NFL, because everybody who tries to tackle him tries to end his career.
Yeah.
They take him low every time.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be happier. I mean, it was just, when I woke up this morning, it was like a great weight off my shoulders. I mean, Jerry Reese, they didn't do their homework on this guy. I mean, as every bit of a gentleman that Saquon is, Odell Beckham Jr. was just the opposite. He was just a total me kind of guy, not a team first kind of guy. So anyway, that's where I feel. I'm just so happy.
David Gettleman, the general manager, put it best. I don't want to have guys on my team that want to win. I want guys on my team that hate to lose. Hey, we all like to win, but there are certain people, they lose, they don't care. Now, the Browns are going to be in a little trouble because this Jarvis Landry, their other wide receiver, is a pretty good player. He also played at LSU with Odell Beckham. He's also a diva. He started his career with Miami. Miami could not stand his antics. They traded him to Cleveland. So good luck. The Giants, I'll tell you, on the internet, everybody's against the trade.
Everybody?
Yeah.
It's about 8 out of 10 would think that
now,
it's a bad
let me
move.
tell you this, Leonard, okay?
I think it's a great move.
Peppers, we got, this will be his third season. Didn't have a great rookie year like most defensive backs don't, but he played pretty well last year.
Well, because they had him in the wrong safety
Exactly. He did not play the right position his rookie season. He's a New Jersey kid, grew up 12 miles away from the MetLife Stadium. Now, when the Giants let Landon Collins go, who is a great box tackler, way below average as a cover guy. Okay, he signed with the Redskins, I think averaged out $14 million a year, and I might be low on this. This Jabril Peppers will be averaging 1.6 million the next 2 years. So we get a 17th round overall pick. I don't want to take Haskins, Len, at the 6th overall pick. I kind of like Daniel Jones out of Duke, would fit very nicely for me at that 17th position. Plus, we get a 3rd round pick, and Gettleman did not take the first offer. There were some teams out there, not a lot, because a lot of people, Len, like you said, did not want that cancer in their locker room. But I thought it was a fair trade value. If Beckham and Landry can keep their nose clean, and Baker Mayfield, I like. He's an old 1950s type quarterback, and he's the type of guy that will punch these guys right in the mouth if they don't act right. The Browns.
Yeah, it will be interesting to Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham now. I mean, it's going to be interesting, the chemistry between those two. Because, as you say, and you got the other receiver is a diva, too. So you got a lot of divas in the room all of a sudden.
Yep.
And, that's Baker Mayfield's team right now. It's never going to be Odell Beckham's team.
Absolutely.
Baker Mayfield's the man there in Cleveland.
Well, Leonard, I think if you look at it objectively, I think what happened when Gettleman came in last year, I think Gettleman said, all right, we'll try to work with what we got. That's why they didn't get rid of anybody. And after a while, he saw that what he had wasn't going to work, got rid of some guys at the trade deadline, got rid of Collins, got rid of Beckham. I don't think they're going to get rid of Manning because what Gettleman wants is adults in the room.
Exactly. Now, I'm sure, too, Len, that Dave Gettleman asked Pat Shurmur, the head coach, do you want him around anymore? And I'm absolutely positive Shurmur said, get him out of town.
And I'm sure he also talked.
Ownership didn't like
I bet you Wellington, not Wellington, but Tim Mara told him, you can let this guy go because, and there was something in the New York Post just in the last half hour that said that they think maybe Beckham did something else that just put him over the top. And they'd had it with him. And I think what's going to happen in Cleveland, as long as everything's rosy and good and they make a few passes and they win a few games, Beckham's going to be the second coming of Jesus. But
David, let me tell you, though.
When it goes south, it's going south ugly.
I believe Beckham would rather get his 8 catches and his 100 yards and lose versus 3 catches, 40 yards and win. That's the way I really, absolutely. Well, I am so happy I can't even begin.
I think Jerry Reese will go down in history as the worst general manager. He was worse than the Ali Sherman days. He went for flashy picks and forgot about the bread and butter guys.
I am more happy today than the day I was born. That is how happy I am.
That's like jumping off the roof if we don't get UVM football. That's a similar statement.
And I will tell you, David, you'll remember, I said a couple weeks ago on this prize award show, I'd rather go 0-16 without Beckham than 16-0 with him. I like to sit down and watch my team and root for guys I like. I detest this guy. He's nothing but a two-bit punk.
He does. He lost me when they all went on the boat before the playoffs. That's when he lost.
And then he didn't play well. I wouldn't have minded if he'd have got on the boat and had a 200-yard game.
Yeah, David, I didn't mind him going on that boat. It was the coming back that bothered me.
Well, I am just checking here.
Well, let me tell you something though. We're getting lost because this was not the big acquisition. Also with the Cleveland Browns earlier in the week.
When they got rid of Olivia Vernon.
They got rid of Olivia Vernon for one of the premier right guards, Kevin Zeitler, who by Pro Football Focus has him rated as the #1 pass protecting guard in all of football. Okay? So
I noted that.
That is huge.
That is interesting.
Now we'll pick up a right tackle somewhere along the way, whether a free agent or a draft pick. But we got a ton of issues with the defense. All we need right now, we get a right tackle. We don't even have to talk offense anymore. I will almost guarantee 30-plus points a game with that team. And Leonard, you mentioned Barkley. What a difference. Barkley is the type of guy you want your daughter to marry. And and
that's his team.
And lastly, I'm all wound up, and I'll let you go, Len, is when we drafted Barkley, not Barkley, but Beckham. What are you doing? You had Aaron Donald, defensive tackle at a University of Pittsburgh, sitting there waiting to be picked. We take Beckham, and what's Aaron Donald become? Just the absolute, without any doubt, the absolute best defensive player in all of football. Just a horrible, horrible pick, and I will mask my mouth here.
I think
go ahead.
What I was going to say is I've got a little string here with some of my golf crew that when they traded Vernon last week, I said Beckham is next, and you know what? I can't believe that he's gone because I thought they were going to be stuck with him. They weren't ever going anywhere with him. Now that he's gone, and I just love the way that they've done. The only problem I have, I wish they could put Saquon Barkley in bubble wrap for 2 years, or put him on injured reserve.
I hear you there.
Because it ain't going to be pretty next year.
Right, come back.
They need, of course, if they pick all defensive players, maybe we need pass rush really, really bad.
Now, Leonard, let me refresh your memory. Not only is Odell Beckham all the things we've already mentioned, but he's also brittle. He's injured every year.
Well, yes, he is. But that's one of the reasons he's brittle is everybody tries to take him out.
Exactly. And I would do the same.
Right. He's
one of the most hated men in the NFL.
Absolutely.
Really?
But, Len, let me refresh your memory last December. When Beckham went down, Evan Ingram, our tight end, his game big time elevated without Beckham whining to get the ball. Shepard will see the ball more. We will pick up a wide receiver in the draft or pick one up, free agent. But this offense, I will not make any excuses next September. The pieces are in place. Are they a Kansas City Chief and LA Ram type offense? Absolutely not. But certainly a better than average offense. And now we can work on the defense. And I want to take at the 6th pick out of Mississippi State, Montez Sweat.
Well, my take on the whole thing too, Leonard, is that with the defense being the way that it is, I think that they looked at Collins because everybody was saying, "Oh, geez, how come they didn't franchise Collins?" I'm glad for Collins. Collins is a good player, and he got a good payday. $84 million, though, is way too much. Mm-hmm. And the Redskins are famous for having free agents go bad on them.
Yep.
So
the only negative about the Odell thing is, and the Giants didn't handle it well. They should have traded him before they signed him. They'd have saved a lot of cap money and dead money, and
yes.
So in terms of boardroom maneuvering, you got to give the Giants an F on that one.
Leonard, let me ask.
They have done what they did like a year ago?
Well, I think they wanted to see if they could take that square peg and put them in a round hole.
My question to you guys is this. I thought after signing that big contract, they set him down. You need to be the leader of the team. Okay? I thought he really, truly would mature, and I was wrong.
Didn't
He's a child.
He's an idiot.
Now, a couple more football points, and then one baseball point, and I'll leave. Now, Kyler Murray had a great pro day today. Threw the ball all over the place very nicely. And if I don't put much stock in mock drafts. I think they're worth a bucket of spit. But anyway, it's not too far-fetched to believe that Arizona takes him at number 1.
Leonard, I guarantee you he'll be wearing the red and white Cardinal jersey come late April.
If we get Rosen in a trade, What do you think it would take to get Rosen in a trade?
We can get him with our second-round pick. Keep in mind he was the 10th overall pick.
Right.
And if he was coming out of UCLA this year, he would be looked upon as the top quarterback.
So we get Saquon Barkley and we get Rosen, basically, that's 2 first-rounders, and we get him basically with a second-round pick. And the Giants will be hot after him if he's available, I think, because he charts out as good as Haskins. I mean, in terms of what he brings to the table.
Yep.
So and if that can happen, that's only a plus for the Giants because they can use their picks for defense.
Yep.
And of course, they're talking about that 17th pick going after that wide receiver from Ole Miss.
Yep.
To replace, Odell, who was never on the field really too much. But anyway, I couldn't be happier. I think and we'll see how it plays out. If they cannot get Rosen, I think they still have to find a quarterback somewhere there.
Like I said, Daniel Jones could be available at the 17th pick, played for Duke University under a great coach, David Cutcliffe.
Coach Cut.
He's the quarterback whisperer, and this kid is smart.
Certainly looks the part. I mean, great size.
He's
right?
6 feet 5 inches. He looks good in his jersey. So
I haven't heard much
you were
about him
asking
lately.
me baseball questions last time I called, and I really wasn't prepared to comment too much on my team. The Phillies obviously on paper are the team to beat.
No way.
In the NL East.
No.
Leonard, let me finish there, Hog.
What do they have for pitching?
Let me finish.
All right.
Let me finish.
Clay Buchholz, right? My man Clay. What more do you want?
I mean, they've got adequate starting pitching.
Sorry.
Their bullpen
Lucky
is
for
not
them.
as good as the Nats. I think positionally, if their players play up to snuff, they probably are better than the Nats. We'll find out, though. We'll find out. But the Braves, I won't sell them short. I mean, if their people continue to improve, and again, they're so deep in young pitching, it's almost an embarrassment. As I said last time I called, you could wipe out 5 people on their starting rotation. They could bring a new 5 in and not embarrass themselves.
Yep.
They're that deep in starting pitching in the minor leagues. I mean, they've played. Their youngsters have pitched very well here in spring training, and really, he was tabbed as you know who I'm talking about. He's consensus best defensive outfielder in the minor leagues right now is this Pache.
Mm-hmm. I know him well.
And I've watched him play here on TV a couple times. Yeah. He's been hitting the ball, had a couple home runs in 2 days. He had a hit today. I mean, he weighs 200 pounds now. I don't know if you're going to see him this year in the outfield, but he's going to start next year.
Yep.
Now, he's another real deal kind of guy.
Yeah. Now, Leonard, I'll tell you why you're wrong. The Philadelphia Phillies starting staff is thin at best. They have one of the absolute best pitchers in the league, and Aaron Nola had a 2.37 ERA. I think he might have been runner-up for the Cy Young last year. In fact, he was under 2 till September and had a couple rough outings. Terrific pitcher. Their second starter is Jake Arrieta. He fashioned a 3.96 ERA. That, my friend, is not a number 2 starter. And right now, and you're a very smart baseball guy, you could not even tell me who the remaining 3 starters are on the Philadelphia Phillies. That's
no, I really can't. No, I didn't.
Efren is being one, Vince Velasquez is being another one, and I can't remember the last one. They may be positionally better than Washington, but big deal. Pitching still 80% of the game. And for the Atlanta Braves, they overachieved last year, partly because the Nats were injured and there wasn't any competition. But I will say this.
The just fizzled down the stretch.
I will say this about Atlanta. Give them 2 more years, okay, and they will be dominating that division for the next decade. That's how much they have in the minor leagues.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, they got. I mean, and what's his name? Acuna. He looks after a slow start this spring. All of a sudden, he's starting to hit real well.
Yeah,
he's
went
getting serious again.
3 for 3 today.
His bat speed is just so awesome.
But Leonard,
unbelievable.
you talk about those 5 pitchers, and it's the truth. It's mind-boggling. Atlanta's got 5 pitchers in the top 40 minor leagues.
They literally have 10 starting pitchers right now that they could throw in there, and I don't care what order you put them in, they would not be embarrassed. That is an embarrassment of riches, is what that is. Yeah. They have 10 starting pitchers. I'm talking. I predict that Gossman might even get cut.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
At the end of spring training here. He might not even be on the team.
Yeah, but I don't have Atlanta being any better than third place this year.
I can understand that right now. But if their youngsters improve a little bit and their young pitchers really suck it up, to me, the bullpen, the back end of the bullpen is what scares me the most with the Braves. It really does. They're going to score runs.
And Leonard,
quite a good lineup there.
Before you go,
score runs.
Do not forget the New York Mets starting staff.
Yeah, I agree totally.
Extremely.
The Mets, if they ever are going to get it done, now is the time.
Yeah, if they stay healthy.
They got as good a pitching as anybody. They got as good a pitching staff as the Nats.
Yes, they do.
And they've made some nice moves in the offseason to help their offense. But there's just something about the Mets. I call that the Strasbourg factor.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. They're injured.
For some reason, they just can't get over the hump.
Yep.
They just can't get over the hump. But anyway, that's it. But I feel very, very free tonight that we got rid of Odell, because I don't care if he ends up in the Hall of Fame. I'm glad that he's not going to go in there with a Giants uniform.
Yeah.
Because he's really, what a me kind of player. Just a me kind of player. And it would have been interesting, because the Patriots were interested in him, and it would have been interesting to see his interaction with Belichick and company.
Yeah. So.
Whether they could have reeled him in. But I guess apparently they thought enough of him that they thought they could, but the Giants didn't want to trade him to the Pats, apparently. And I think that was a real deal, maybe. That could have gone down. But we'll see. Anyway.
Thanks, Leonard.
See you, Len.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, David, the Giants right now have 12 draft picks. There's a lot of scuttlebutt. Does anybody use that word anymore?
Yeah, I think so.
Scuttlebutt.
Sure.
That the Giants could take their 6th pick, couple it with their 17th pick, and move up to the 2nd position overall if they want Haskins, because there's concerns that Haskins, if their Giants are truly interested, would not be available at the 6th spot. But I'd rather get Daniel Jones. That's my boy.
They need to get, and you heard it here first, they will not take a quarterback with that pick.
I hope you're...
They are going to take a defensive player, an impact player, pass rusher.
Yeah, they like this Montez Sweat out of Mississippi State.
Though Shermer went today, Shermer went to the pro day for Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray,
or whatever.
Look, I'm not seeing too much lately about Daniel Jones. Is he still getting a fair amount of attention?
All I can say, and I'll say it every week when we talk about the April draft, quarterbacks look that much better as the draft comes. Jones will be picked mid-round, guaranteed. Good evening. You're on the best damn sports show in Franklin County. Hello.
How we doing, guys?
Good.
Hey, how are you?
We're a happy bunch tonight.
Like a Babe Ruth trade today, huh? Or last night?
Yeah.
Addition by subtraction.
Yeah. But you know what? I know you guys all in Leonard sound happy, but I would give it, if I was a Giant fan, maybe bittersweet. There is a big hole. I know, and I have no dogs in the fight. I'm just an observer.
Either do I.
You know, put all his antics aside, the guy was a great pass receiver. He had double, triple teamed every time to make Shepard look good. You guys are going to have big trouble downfield now with your draft picks, like on your shirt, Nighthawk 1 and 3. You better make those rounds count, or that trade will go down as one of the worst in history.
But-
This whole trade depends on I know you're sitting there, you hate the guy, but it's about wins and losses in football. It isn't who you like. And as far as divas, football is full of them. It's just, you're in New York, you watch, the New York teams, the big press there and everything. And I know he was a diva, but, it's still a big hole to fill. And with those draft picks, if I was general manager, I would say I want the best offensive line in football. We will not draft a quarterback this year. Let's get a great established offensive line in there for a year first, and then we'll put a quarterback behind a good line.
Yeah.
And I think what you'll do is just run Barkley. You'll be an old Giant team where run short passes, move the chains, and to make a bad defense worse, you keep your offense on the field.
Yeah.
Do you know where you don't need a big arm quarterback? You need to establish the Giants as a running team again.
Do you know where Beckham wanted to play? He wanted to play for the Rams, and boy, the Rams smart. With
Who's that now?
He wanted to play with the Rams. His diva personality, and he said he wanted to play in L.A. Can you imagine him messing up Jared Goff? You've got such a bright future with Goff. You don't want to mess this kid up with Beckham there. But, one thing people have to remember, we also got Jabril Peppers, who was a very good safety, and we picked up Anton Betha. He's 35 years old. He's still
A character guy again. High character.
Yeah, Anton Betha.
Yeah, but this is football. I mean, character, you can throw that out the window.
Well,
I'll tell you what, caller, I don't agree with you. I think Beckham, for me, I lost it for him with that game with the Carolina Panthers was Josh Norman. And that's really the game that got our old coach fired, Coughlin, because he couldn't control them.
yeah. We have two starting safeties today that we didn't have last week, and they're two pretty good safeties.
And this one day, Peppers is a hell of a good cover man.
Yes, he is.
Which Collins wasn't.
Yeah. No, Collins is probably the best.
Should have been a
box
linebacker.
Right. Should have been an outside linebacker. Good luck. Nice guy. Good luck with the Redskins. But the Giants need a lot of help on defense. And like you said, this trade to me last night, was secondary to getting Zeitler, the right guard.
That was a
from
good
Cleveland.
because Vernon, I can't believe they were even able to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Let alone pick up a good player for him.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, you're going to need an offensive line because you have just, as of last night, became a running team.
Yeah. Well, Barkley had over 1,300 yards. I think Gurley was was it Gurley or the
Gurley
Cowboys? Who was the leading rusher? Elliott?
Ezekiel.
I think
Or
it
was
was
it Gurley?
Gurley.
But anyways, Barkley was second. So
And the Giants didn't even actually learn how to run till after the
I agree.
after the break.
They didn't realize how good Barkley was.
They I think they got a plan, and I just love what they're doing. I can't argue. I just don't think there's a quarterback, unless there's a quarterback there that really wets their whistle. I think they're going to load that team up with some depth because we haven't had depth in years at defensive positions.
Yeah. Now, keep in mind, what did we win last year? 5 games?
Yeah.
And the year before, 4 games? 9 wins in 2 years. We're not a good football team.
Well, we weren't going to win with Beckham.
Right.
So what? You can't get any worse.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, Cleveland, I expect them in the playoffs now.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're
Baltimore's.
tough on both sides of the ball. Great quarterback. 2 great receivers now. Great tight end. And, their defense is a heck of a good defense. And what I like there, it's nice to see teams like Cleveland being good again after 20 years,
I agree.
You like to see some of these teams that have been beat around forever get back into the the playoff hunt.
Yeah, I think they won, one game 2 years ago?
One game and then 0 games. Vegas took note of
Yeah,
Cleveland,
so,
I heard.
you can turn. I always say, and the Rams are living proof. You can turn around a team in a hurry.
Yeah. And I also want to say something about the Rams. Todd Gurley, as I suspected, was severely injured. He did not play well in the playoffs.
Severely?
He was probably 40%. If there was a 100% Gurley during the Super Bowl, it could have been a difference.
Why wouldn't the Rams have opened up about that after the Super Bowl loss?
Because you never talk about injuries.
But I mean, after the season, who cares?
Well,
Still don't talk
it's just
about it?
that's just the way football is. You do not talk about injuries. But
I mean, they were getting so much grief about not playing this guy.
because he was hurt.
I know, so I don't,
Yeah.
Anyway. But
Yeah, I guess there was talk about getting some, is that stem cell treatment? I guess another running back got that in his knee, something with a stem cell.
Yeah.
A doctor I have not, but, that sounds not scary, but serious,
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what,
Especially
caller.
if you depend on your legs to make a living for you.
With Cleveland, I can tell you exactly the analogy I gave my buddies this morning. Cleveland with Beckham is like finding out that you've got a date with Miss America and or Miss Universe, and you're going out
sounds
with
good
her, and
to
all
me.
your friends are going, "Wow, what a girl!" And then the longer you know her, her personality starts grating on you a little bit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you find out she snores.
Yeah.
And then we'll keep going on and on and on. And the next thing you know, 2 years later, you can't wait to get rid of her.
Yeah. Now, caller, remember, they also have.
Yeah, this is definitely a trade that's going to have to take a couple years, like any
Yeah.
trade, to really let it iron out and see who, your draft choices are, how they're playing, see if Beckham grows up, and that's what kind of trade. But, it does leave a hole for you guys, a big one, but again, you can take a sigh of fresh air now and, move on with your team. So, I think it's a win-win for both of you guys. And really what's bigger than that is still, I think, Pittsburgh with Le'Veon Bell and Brown. That's two superstars that left. And I watched an interview tonight with Brown, and he seemed like a very, very nice man, a God-fearing man, a nice family man. His family was out there with him. They kind of interviewed him in Gruden, and he sounded like a very nice guy. And of course, he didn't talk about his troubles in Pittsburgh, but I think him and Bell both had problems with Rothenberg, and that guy might have been the problem to drive two people out of there.
Brown
but
and
I think
Rothenberg.
that is really bigger than this Beckham deal.
Yeah, Brown did not get along with Roethlisberger, and that's the truth. And Le'Veon Bell signed a huge contract
With the
today
Jets, right?
with the New York Jets.
About $50 million.
Second highest paid running back. in
Usually you
football.
go there to die.
Exactly.
But the Jets look like an up-and-coming team, maybe enough to give the Patriots a little concern.
They're still the Jets.
Yeah, they're still the Jets.
Although their rookie quarterback, I mean, that guy looks like he might be a pretty good quarterback.
I like the caller said, you go to die when you play with the Jets. He'll be in the Meadowlands swamp
Jets-
with Jimmy Hoffa.
The Jets are 50 years and counting.
Yeah.
They aren't going anywhere.
No, he went with the money.
I got one last thing for you guys, switching over to baseball, a little tidbit I looked at today. And talk about cheap owners. Tampa Bay.
Right, Mr. Snell, they gave him
was,
15
Cy
grand
Young
more.
last year, making a whopping $558,000. So in his situation, a year or two in, of course, he's still under management financially, the team, but you're guaranteed at least a $10,000 raise. And the Tampa Rays gave him that guaranteed $10,000 raise
$5,500.
and $5,000 to boot. And he was professionally upset. And, you get that. And these are the cheap teams that shouldn't be in baseball. These guys hurt the games, as much as your big spenders do.
But-
I mean, you know he's going to be there another year or two. Then he will be a billionaire for somebody. But teams like this, if they kind of compensated them a little bit better, maybe these guys would stick around.
Yeah. Now, caller, how many years on the show have I been crying out Tampa has to leave Florida because every year they average 15,000 people, only second to Miami that has the worst attendance in baseball. Tampa's salary, Boston's going in the season around $245 million. Tampa's going in the season $60 million payroll.
And this is a team coming off a great 90 wins.
90 some odd wins, yeah.
Boy, Montreal Hawks, as you said, boy.
And that's
what
without a
match
real
made
good
in heaven.
team behind him.
Oh, absolutely. And again, for the umpteenth time, Tampa goes to Montreal. We play the Red Sox 9 times, Yankees 9 times, the Blue Jays 9 times. That, I can guarantee you, 27 sellouts right there, and good luck at the border. Because when the Red Sox are in town, I will be going to Montreal to get a hotel room for those 3 nights so I don't have to deal with the traffic.
Caller, it's funny you call talking about Blake Snell. They talked about that on MLB because what they were saying is Tampa's really in a no-win position because Blake Snell, all they had to give him was a 10 grand raise. All right.
And
Well,
they broke the bank and gave him another 5. Pretty nice.
What do you do? Do you give him another million, $500,000? Because in 3 years, when he's a free agent, is he going to stay there? Of course, now you know for sure.
No, but this is what you do if you're Blake Snell. You say, well, what I'm going to give you is 140 innings this year.
Well, you can't do
And after that, I'm shutting myself down. And I would, and he should, because why? Tampa will pitch him to death, knowing they're only renting him. It's like Billy Martin used to do with his young pitchers.
Yeah, there's some truth to that.
If I was Snell, I'd say I'll give you 140 innings, and I'm shutting down. He's got to look at his future as well.
Well,
and even if you're a cheap organization, you've got to keep a couple people on your team, and him being one.
Well, the thing is, I think this situation is really a situation for baseball to address. Because a guy that wins a Cy Young, these guys on their first 4 or 5 years really are making not very much dough.
Oh, no. I guess he had nothing in his contract about winning the Cy Young. I guess that didn't do him any good. Seems like they could have given him, $600,000, given him, a few more bucks, but yeah, I guess, yeah.
Well,
it's a matter of making him, like you say, he's there 3 more years. You're going to have a happy pitcher or a sad pitcher. And again, like I say, I would shut myself down. Don't wear yourself out. Be healthy when your free agency does come up. And it's just a very bad example of a good example of a bad team. I mean, we have our teams that pay anybody, billions of dollars, but this is, just the opposite. Maybe a salary cap, have something $130 million for a high and $100 million for low, and you would separate the contenders from the pretenders.
Now, I've been preaching that as well. We have a ceiling, which is supposedly 206, but they still let you go over it, and there should be a cellar of 110 million.
Well, as there is in hockey.
And hockey is that way.
Now, just to throw something else out there, when Aaron Judge 2 years ago hit 50 home runs and 100 million RBIs and hit 300 or whatever he only got like a
550, I think.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think what it is when they come out with a new collective agreement, they got to pay these guys the second, third, fourth years, give them more money, or let them become free agents a couple years sooner, and then the guys will be getting paid for actual performance as compared to years ago where they got paid for what they did.
But of course, the last thing Scott Burris would take that in a second. The teams, of course, obviously want control over these guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Every second they can have it. But I agree, it does seem these guys get nothing. They get peanuts for several years, and then, I mean, Mookie goes from peanuts to, I guess he made some bucks last year, now 20 mil, but the system is.
Yeah.
The system.
I don't know what to do about it.
Well, they've got to figure that out. But Blake Snell is in a tough spot, and it's too bad for him. But in 3 or 4 years, he'll probably be pitching for the Yankees.
Well, I'm just sorry they didn't throw a
Or the
Cy
Red
Young
Sox.
Award thing in his contract.
Yeah. So, okay. Anything else, caller?
No, my last thing, and I said it before for pro football, the rule I want changed is 1 foot in bounds for a catch. For a pass receiver, if he gets 1 foot in bounds, it's a legal catch. We can cut down about 30 minutes of instant replay. And that would, a lot of times they straddle that line on 2 toes, and they just get wiped right out. They're defenseless like that.
And
with
that's
your pass receivers.
exactly what they do in college.
1 foot in, and it's a catch.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they do that in college. And
Okay,
I
you
agree.
guys, I'll let you go, and good luck with the trade. Like I say, either way, I'm just an observer from the outside, but a couple years from now, it'll tell what was good for who.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah, have a good
See you,
night,
buddy.
guys.
Thanks for
And the simple matter is that is the truth. Regardless who you pick at 17th position, you still should get a decent player, whether you go with a Daniel Jones or a right tackle or a defensive player. Minimum 2 years to see how this trade will.
There's
will
been
shake
some
out.
talk about this Missouri quarterback too.
That would
he's
be
gotten-
Drew Lock. He's rated
gotten some
ahead of
attention.
Daniel Jones. I
Yeah.
expect him to go around the 10th position.
Really.
But I think that was just when I listen to these fans, and you
Are
read
these giant? Are these
a lot of Giants fans, a lot of the
fans
reporters think that Gettleman got screwed. I think what happened, I think Gettleman, when he first came in, just like I would have done, said, all right, let's see what we can do here and make this team something.
Yeah.
And it didn't
David,
work out.
a sports talk show isn't good when we're all happy. And we're all happy tonight. It's a lot more entertaining when you're sitting here, we're angry, bitching, and all that type of stuff. But it's Shangri-La with me. Like you said, this ranks second to the day I was born. I mean, I am just so happy. I am looking so forward to football season without seeing him on the field. The Giants will find a receiver. The fact of the matter is the quarterback makes the receiver. It really does. And Ingram will be that much better. Shepard will be better. We will get somebody out there. Barkley will be used more.
Barkley will be the face of the franchise for the next 15 years.
Yeah.
What did Beckham have to say about this, or nothing yet?
No, he was a little shocked last night. Today, he's
Posted a tweet of himself
in a Cleveland
in
uniform.
a Cleveland uniform.
Something about the dogs. But again, it was about him. It was all about him. He didn't say, boy, I'm going to a team that's on the rise. I'm hoping I can help. It's all about him. Oh, I just dislike him so much. Now, the other side of the coin, a franchise that knows how to run their operation. New England Patriots.
Boy, doing their usual,
This
Well, they
is-
signed one son, Michael. They got Michael.
They
Benson.
lose guys all the time.
Trey Flowers. I
Okay.
don't think, and they like him. They didn't
let-
give
they-
1 second thought about.
But they weren't going to
paying-
pay
oh,
him
no.
that kind of money.
2 years ago, they
Trent
had
Brown's
Nate
son.
Soldier as left tackle. They were not going to pay the ridiculous salary the Giants paid him.
Yeah.
Okay,
Boy,
so
they
they have
seemed to-
Trent Brown come in,
Got away with that.
one and done, and played much better than anybody expected.
Yeah.
But the Patriots had drafted first round last year, if I remember right.
Oh, of
Isaiah
course, they got the
Wynn,
guy from Georgia.
Isaiah Wynn, who got hurt and will be more than ready to take over that left tackle position.
hopefully.
Trey Flowers is getting half
A
of.
teammate of Sony Michel's, another Georgia Bulldog.
Yeah. Trey Flowers, very good player, good individual. They weren't going to pay him that money. So who do they pick up? 33-year-old Michael Bennett. He made his career in Seattle. I personally don't like the guy. He's one of those take a knee. He was one of the leading proponents. But I played with Philadelphia last year.
But not a bad ball player.
And played exceptionally well. His brother,
Of course,
Martellus,
his brother was on the
Was
team.
a tight end.
played with the Packers, Bears, Giants.
And remember what
Patriots.
and
He wants to come back, and I like him. I think he's a better than average quarterback. He wants to come play with his brother this coming
And remember what he
season.
did? He was on the Packers. He got hurt, and there was that weird situation.
Yeah.
He ended up back with the Pats when Green Bay was bitter about that. You know, he was saying
Had a knee
whatever
injury
happened.
or something.
So the Patriots
The
aren't
Pats are just sitting tight. I'm a
grabbing-
little concerned about receiving.
grabbing the headlines, but they just quietly go about. You know, I noticed, like, geez, Belichick, nice job, nice job. I would love to just sit here one week and just rip on Belichick. I really would, because he's so droll. However, the guy is a genius. He's nothing short of a genius.
He's the best.
Greatest football man that's ever
Better
walked
than
this
Vince
earth.
Lombardi.
Better,
He's the
just
top.
I would have loved had they, you know, shown
How
a
do
little
you keep
interest for
winning?
Danny Amendola, but
You
I
know,
guess didn't
Tom
even
Brady's
cross their mind, I
is a
guess.
good quarterback, but there's also been other good quarterbacks in this league. Like Aaron Rodgers gets talked about a lot.
Yeah.
One appearance, Super Bowl, just he got the win, but just one appearance.
Yeah.
You know,
How about Dan Marino?
Dan Marino never won. He made it to one Super Bowl.
The sophomore year.
Second year, never made it back. But Tom Brady, and again, I think, as ridiculous as it sounds, I think Tom Brady is so underrated. I just don't think that people realize in the salary cap world we live in, to do what he has done is just mind-blowing.
Nice that he
20
gives
years
the Pats,
from now,
treats the
He's
Pats
been
pretty
giving
well.
them an extra $10 million a year.
Does he eventually get? I mean, are they going to pay him till he's like 7?
He doesn't need the money. Giselle makes twice as much
I know.
as he does.
Yeah.
But how many players in that position would be?
Not a lot of them.
Yeah.
And there's been a few players. They asked one of these players, said, "Would you take a deal like Tom Brady?" And he goes, "My wife doesn't make Giselle's money."
thank you. Yeah.
But the Pats, they're just being very,
know,
very
the
quiet.
worst
I'm a little
thing-
concerned about receiving, but Philip Dorsett might come back. He's okay.
He's not off the team right now.
No, Dorsett, you're talking about Josh Gordon. You're confusing
No,
him.
Philip. I thought they let Philip Dorsett go last week.
No, really? No,
Yeah.
I got
David, can you check your tweet machine?
Huck, I got
what do you
today's
wanna know?
Herald.
I
he
could
hadn't
be
signed.
mistaken, rarely, but I could be
No, they're
mistaken.
talking about him here. How they both love each other. No, I mean he's a free agent, but he hasn't signed.
Okay.
him. Oh, he's just a free
Okay,
agent.
okay, that's
they'd
all right.
love
But
to
he's
have him back.
officially not a Patriot.
Oh yeah, okay.
Right,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I meant.
Sure.
He's not a Patriot.
But he hasn't signed with anybody
Up
else.
and down season,
And
nothing
of course,
special.
Josh Gordon, they did something to keep him.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Now, Josh Gordon's got talent. Philip Dorsett's a
that
run-of-the-mill flop, first-round flop from the Colts. So whether they
But I'm just
get him
concerned
back-
about bodies. They have one.
Now,
you
is
know,
that Dorsett? Was his old man Tony Dorsett?
No,
No.
Not
no,
the same.
No, but they.
But Edelman's the one body they have at this point. Pretty good body, but anyway.
Well, there was
But they never seem to be too
speculation.
He,
concerned.
Belichick could get the three of us to play wide receiver
Yes.
and be fine.
There was a
Yes.
quiet
Maybe.
speculation when Danny Amendola got cut by the Dolphins, maybe back with the Pats, but he signed. They call this team
Lions.
New England Patriots
Matt
North.
Patricia.
They call it New England Patriots North now. So he signed, just like Trey Flowers signed.
Another receiver out there was a Dookie, Jamison Crowder. Not a bad receiver.
Yep.
A Dookie
Redskins
with the Skins.
last year.
Yeah.
Yep.
And signed with the Titans, maybe another kind of
Yeah.
Patriots.
But like David and I say, it's done. It's over with.
No, I'm sorry, Jamison Crowder, Jets also.
Okay. But free agency, you can legally tamper starting Monday, 2, 4 o'clock,
I thought
something
it
like that.
was today. I
Today
thought
at 4.
4
But you
o'clock.
can all these deals went down in the prior 48 hours.
Right.
Big news today? Not much. But all this stuff, went down. Giants could not announce this trade until today
4 o'clock
because
today.
the official NFL calendar, their new year is today at 4 o'clock. So
I was trying to say before the Browns with their move of your former guy, Vegas seems to be pretty excited about that, and they do seem to be an up-and-coming
Well,
team.
but
they jumped about 10 teams for
Yeah, they did.
for
Okay.
Super Bowl, like 14 to 1
listen,
or something.
Big Ben is also 38 years old. They lose one of the top 3 receivers in football.
Right.
Even though they did okay without Bell last year, he's still one of the top 3 running backs.
Yeah.
So and the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, no.
Boy, you just don't see too many pro quarterbacks who are like him who do that
No,
well.
no,
Although
no,
he
no.
didn't have a bad
No,
year.
Baltimore, I will look at camera right now. Nighthawk guarantee. Ravens won't even play 500.
That Lamar Jackson is not really that good.
It's not that good, no. He was, I believe, 32nd pick last.
He's got a long way to go. He's a good runner.
Right.
Right.
I
but
just don't
he's
like
certainly
that.
Not your typical
You know,
pro
I'm the
quarterback,
type of guy
obviously.
that I don't like to reinvent the wheel. I like my quarterback
Patriots
first and
had-
foremost throw the ball.
Patriots apparently had some interest in him, but didn't go after him.
Yeah. But the Patriots are doing the right
Patriots
thing.
have some draft- they have a
Do you
bunch of
hear
draft picks.
any Patriot news? Oh, we really have to go out and get a quarterback. You keep Tom Brady there until he drops dead on the field. Then you say, now we start looking for what do you want to do? Bring another quarterback, draft him second round, and let him. Tom Brady's going to play 3 more years, okay? If he doesn't get
Well,
hurt.
I'm not sure it's a guarantee. I mean, I'd
may
like to
play
see.
5
I'd
more
like to
years.
see the Patriots
There's
draft
nothing
another
wrong.
quarterback.
There's nothing wrong
Boy,
with
if
Tom Brady.
Brady goes down, then you're in pretty
right.
tough shape.
But here's what you do: you get the
Although they weren't the one season he
Tyrod
did go
Taylors,
down.
you get the Ryan Fitzpatricks of the world. There are a dime a dozen out there, veteran quarterbacks.
I guess.
The Giants re-signed Alex Taney.
Yeah.
Nobody knows anything about
The guy's a professional clipboard
right.
holder.
30
right.
years old. He's probably thrown 10 passes, but they like him enough in the
He's a good, competent backup
right,
as long as
good
you don't
in
have
the
to play him.
quarterback room. Exactly. He's a good player as long as he doesn't have to
As long as
play.
he
Here's
Right.
the headline in the Herald today about the Pats. Belichick Pats, stay patient. What else is new?
Yeah.
At
And
this
again,
time of year?
The only bad thing I can say, New England, not their fault, but that East division is so.
That's a break.
We don't
That's
even
a-
know who the quarterback is for Miami yet.
Yeah,
you know?
no, that's a big break.
Nobody like Antonio Brown was actually traded to Buffalo. No way. I'm going to Buffalo.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to play in Siberia.
Yeah.
Okay, free agents will not come there unless it's their last chance to catch a contract. So Buffalo, forget about
No,
it.
the Jets,
Jets,
obviously
as
a
the
big-
caller
big
said,
break.
you go there to
Big
die.
break.
I gotta throw this out before I forget. BFA girls hockey state championship game tomorrow night.
Oh, really? Will you be there?
I'll be there
Oh, wow.
against Essex.
Wow.
BFA's record was like 21-1,
Wow.
or 21-2, and Essex was like 19-2-1.
Wow.
So it's
or
pretty,
pretty
it's gonna be
much,
a good game.
1 and
Flip
2.
a
Yeah,
coin.
they're. We've got a little better defense. Essex got a little better offense.
Yeah.
Wow.
So David,
so tomorrow night?
Tomorrow
I
night.
had a great,
Thanks.
great date last Friday night. The young man from Hingham, Massachusetts, the Duke. The Duke and I went to the UVM hockey game.
It's actually a pretty good game for what
last
everybody
game.
says.
Not a bad game. Especially the third period got ragged. Was my
Ragged's the word
But not a
I
bad game.
complimented on
Hey, the
this
Cats
adjective.
got a key point, a hugely important point out of that game. I'm kidding.
So Lowell did in fact finish fourth to Gardner
All
the
right.
first round, but UVM played great for the first 10 minutes, ran out of gas. And can I use the word antithesis of the type of team UVM is? I said to Duke,
Antithesis, is that the word you're after?
yeah, of what you're seeing. Is that the wrong word?
The opposite of which I'm not sure what
Okay,
you're getting
then the
at.
wrong word. I just sometimes like to pull a big word out, and
That's
sometimes
fine.
they're wrong. Okay, I told Duke, I said, Duke, you're watching this game. You can just see the skill level between the two teams. Lowell were big and fast. Hell, UVM.
And of course, for a couple minutes, UMass Lowell is on a seemingly endless power play, except
was
there
fine.
wasn't a power play.
David,
They were
It looked like,
just David,
like about
5-5.
3
I
minutes.
elbowed Duke and said, Duke, I have watched thousands
Like
upon.
this.
I have never seen 5-on-5 play. And just sharp, crisp passes, and
Yeah, they were
And
better.
fortunately for UVM, their absolute very best players, their
He's a
goaltender.
goalie.
This kid is good. Duke asked me about pro
good.
potential.
So
I
too
said
small.
no, just too small.
Really? Just too small?
He's a midget compared for.
That's,
Well, if he
that's
keeps-
enough. That's enough to kill you, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
you look at NHL
Brady-
goalies. You look at any.
You never know.
Yeah, I'm
He'll
telling
have to work twice
I realize
as hard.
goalies typically are.
mean-
you can't even see any.
Hey, Carey
space
Price
behind.
doesn't look that big to you. He's 6 feet 4 inches.
Is he
yeah.
really?
Yeah, they're all huge.
The BFA boys lost a tough game for their semifinal.
Well, that was last Tuesday.
Oh, that was.
That we talked about it
You
last
did
week.
mention that last
Oh,
week.
that's right too. So I missed that one.
Well,
but
you're getting old.
one nothing game. And
1-0 game.
Wow.
But I want to say that the goalie for CVU happens to be a cousin of mine,
Really?
Cody. His dad is Kevin Cody,
Okay.
and he had 43 saves, but he.
Did Seaview move on? So
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So-
I'm done. I only watch a BFA.
So-
Hey, you're doing fine.
David, but the real news on the UVM hockey
Well,
game, last game, official attendance, and I told the Duke, and I wanted him down there. I said, because he knows history and he
I
appreciates
like the guy. I like
old
it. It's fun.
gut.
Hawk's got a great seat.
And that is the last game with the bleachers. And they have a tiny little area. They show you the new seats. I pointed it out as we left. Capacity. Now, keep in mind, students were gone, but I don't care. Spring break. And the big guy sits near me. I go, I've been here 35 years with a season ticket. You've been here for quite a few years. Have you ever seen a smaller crowd than this? He goes, yeah, once. It was a
game.
major snowstorm. Okay.
Yeah.
Official capacity with very nice weather Friday night, 2,777.
Wow.
No, I didn't take. Did you take note of? Did you get that figure when we were there?
I got
Or
on the
afterwards?
computer on the official UVM site because I was
afterwards?
so curious. Absolutely.
Is that
so,
27?
Now,
Wow.
Duke mentioned I have good seats. He's lying. I have great
Yeah.
seats.
Blue-
Okay,
blue
I'm on the
line?
blue line,
Great
section
seat.
6. I see UVM shoot first and third period. The only seat better than mine, David's the last row behind me. That's it.
Yeah, great seat.
So,
Great
yesterday, I'm getting a little nervous, okay?
About where he's
and we'll-
gonna be next
and-
season.
And on the heels of this college story yesterday, which I want to get into.
Oh, the one where the people
Yes.
take
Okay.
pictures and put
Now,
them on the bodies. Of
I
the
called the
athletes.
athletic ticket office yesterday, and I said, listen, I don't know if you're the right person to talk to,
Oh, you did contact somebody.
but I have some concern / anxiety about where I'm going to be sitting next year. And I said, I know I'm in a great seat, but I'm not a Victory Club member that can pull out the checkbook and write you a check for $10,000, $20,000.
you told this person how long you've been a season ticket holder.
And
I
you know,
trust.
because a guy with some major bucks to say, here's my checkbook and here's the diagram of the rink, and I want to sit right in the blue line right there. And they say, well, the Nighthawk sits there. I can add another 0 if you like on this check. So he told me there will be rankings. Okay, which tells me, David,
that doesn't sound good.
okay, I'm no idiot because
Yeah.
and I realize I don't have money talks, okay? If there's a guy that can write out a big check and says, I want the Nighthawks seat, it's going to happen. Now, I said, well, geez, I've been a season ticket holder for probably 35 years. Does that count? Well, that will be considered in your rankings.
God.
And you'll be notified. And I says, listen, I don't want you to put me in the corner right next to the band.
Did you ask him? I guess the question is, where did you say, give me a worst case scenario, buddy?
He would not
I guess he couldn't get. He wouldn't
say it.
know.
And I also brought up the 2,777. And of course, him towing the company line, he says, well, I'll be more happy to be a sounding board. And I said, well, listen, I'm telling you something you probably already know. But this program's in complete disarray. And I told you the other night, I said, you watch a UVM game, what we're watching is a bunch of Division III players out there, okay? These are guys that couldn't make BU, BC, Northeastern, Harvard, Boston area schools, and they said, well, the only choice I have is go to UVM. Now, I hold zero ill feelings towards any player in UVM. They're getting a $250,000 scholarship, and I might be underestimating what that's
For
worth.
out-of-stater?
Yeah,
At a-
I might
at a
be
good- at a
underestimating.
good school,
But
at
that's
a good
so
college.
I think I'm within a few $1,000s. Okay, so take it if you can get it. But the hockey has been horrible for the last number of years. And Kevin Sneddon, and again, it's all about recruiting. Nothing against Coach K at Duke, but I think I could be pretty darn close as good a coach as Coach K with the top 3
Well,
All-American
the,
McDonald players he brings in. Okay, because I think at that level, it's all about getting the right
How
people.
about even the Vermonters that they keep missing the boat on? That Finkelstein kid, there was a kid, his name is Finkelstein, who did not get recruited at UVM, went to St. Lawrence,
Yeah.
played really well, got drafted, first round NHL. Now he's playing for BC.
Yeah.
Really?
And they've missed the boat on a lot.
Yeah.
And if I were a good player, I wouldn't want to play UVM either.
Yeah.
Not for Sted. And if you look what's happened the last few years, a lot of his good players all quit or have some sort of problem by the middle of the season.
Well,
See you
Back to
later.
it was senior night. Guess how many seniors are left? 3. 6 had gone elsewhere.
David, senior
Three
night.
seniors.
And there's 3 seniors. I go to Duke. I said, Duke. I said, that's rather strange. They entered school in 2015. There's only 3. I said, generally speaking, there's 8 or 9 incoming freshmen every year for hockey. The Duke goes, well, did you not read the Free Press? Ted Ryan had an article this morning about this very same
Noting
topic.
where they had gone.
And they noted where the 6 kids ended up, basically nowhere. But, some went to Holy Cross, one went to Calgary, blah, blah, blah. But it just shows you that even for a good program like a BC at BU, they do lose players because they end up in the NHL. UVM,
They just go away because they're sick of
And you mentioned St. Lawrence. Hawk and I, we talked about, boy, what about UVM leaving the ECAC, a pretty solid conference for Hockey East in retrospect? That doesn't strike me as a good move.
A lot of guys think that it was a good move for them because Hockey East is probably
Just
the
more
premier hockey.
Right,
More
it is
prestigious, obviously.
right. However, UVM likes to think of themselves as an educational school. They are. UVM is a good school. Won't knock them. I still got a little tickle when I would see Princeton, Yale, Harvard, Dartmouth coming into my barn.
And great
It's
rivals
the Ivy
like
Leagues.
Clarkson and St. Lawrence.
Clarkson and
Those are
St. Lawrence.
pretty good
David, you remember all
rivalries.
that?
Oh, what about Dartmouth?
Dartmouth.
And they were still
Dartmouth.
playing UNH.
Yes, right, exactly. So now, is the Magic Genie the new seats? Will that turn the program around? I'm sure there's going to be other refurbishments along the way
Jeez,
because this
I
project
wouldn't
is
think so.
slated for
Think so.
95. You've done construction work before. That 95 really means about a 115. Right?
Well, who knows? Well, they really need to take an evaluation of Seddon because I think their
And
program.
they just re-upped them a year or two ago.
Yeah, well, I think eventually you say, you know what?
The new AD seemed to be a little more concerned about wins and
So
losses, didn't he?
They
Mr.
finished
Schulman?
second to last in Hockey East this year. Only Merrimack was less than that. They got a total of 13 points. I think
5, 16, and 3.
Aren't they
Hockey
ranked
East.
like at a Division I programs? Aren't they like 59 out of 60 or something?
Probably.
I would
Again,
bet-
5, 16, and 3 in
That's,
Hockey East.
yeah.
Now compare that to the basketball program. All right, and hockey's really their signature
Wait, David.
sport.
Good segue. That's the nice way to move.
All right, hockey's their signature sport.
Well, how about hockey used to be their
Used to
signature
be.
sport?
I will concur with the
Oh,
Duke.
it still is.
No, I
You
think
think
basketball.
hockey's their signature?
Hockey, UVM hockey. Look at all the guys who made the NHL. John LeClaire.
David.
No, but I'm just
David-
saying. I'm
David-
just saying today, in 2019.
Oh
March
no,
29th,
no! It's
No,
because
right now.
It used to be.
because of Snedden. They stink.
David,
Oh, right.
again,
No,
I
no,
will
for years,
Yeah.
of course.
I
it
will go
was.
back to my conversation. His name was Jason. Had been there 4 years, and I told him, I will call people and say, I can't make it to the hockey game Friday night. Do you want my tickets? Do you know what the response? It's a family show, but people will say to me, and I quote, "Are you out of your effing mind? Who in the world wants to go down
I've
there?
had-
You can't give them away."
I've had guys offer tickets. I don't want to go. I don't want to watch them play. They play boring hockey.
So basketball is the premier. It is
Oh,
so
sure, right now.
popular right now.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
But what's the difference? The coach. It's just like the girls program. You go back 25 years ago or 20 years ago, UVM women's basketball, 25-0. They
Yes.
finally made it. The place was stuffed.
Fact,
No,
absolutely.
sure. It's biggest story in Vermont.
And
for a
then
couple of years.
they had 2-3 coaches in a row, all did a good job. Then all of a sudden the coaching went and
Yep.
the program went
Yep.
and
Yep.
it was over.
Hey, speaking of UVM hoops, while I think of it, I was trying to find the Duke Carolina game. Not that was a lot of fun for me to
Did
deal
Carolina
with.
beat them again?
Carolina beat first time since 2009 that
Swept 'em?
Carolina swept them. Anyway, I'm down. Had a couple. Finally got maybe it was a game. Finally got some good walks into Burden Island. Walked out on the ice. A fox ran right by me yesterday walking out there.
Wow.
But anyway, what I was saying was this is Saturday
Dude, that's
night.
why you have such good mental health. You know how to treat your mind.
And cross-country skiing, I was out this morning and
okay.
a couple of days ago on the golf course, finally. I'm glad I get rid of my winter wimpness in like mid-March. But anyway, I'm going back to my house, but I'm down at Kilcare. I got to be able to find the Duke Carolina game on radio. And there are 2 ACC stations on Sirius XM.
Yeah.
Nothing. But anyway, I'm cruising around. I finally found the game. But on that same station, ESPNU, I think Channel 84, guess who I heard? Coach Tom Brennan. I don't know if he's a regular, but you don't listen to radio. But
No.
there was Brennan doing a show on ESPNU radio.
He's been on.
He's good. He was on TV for a while, but
Yeah.
I hadn't seen him doing any national
Did
stuff
ESPN
some
for 1
years.
year?
Was
Then
it
they
1 year?
Yeah, they let him go after
But it
1
was
year.
ESPNU radio, and he was sounding like his usual,
Yeah.
lively self.
And I know one of the UVM board members very well. He's one of my best buddies, and
What did his last name be? Chaffee?
yeah.
Yes.
And I told him, I said, you're going to have to pay this basketball coach some serious money because he's going to be able to get.
Boy,
David.
And whatever you
think.
need to, you pay it
David.
to him.
David.
You think?
They lost 6 seniors, half the team last year. I didn't expect this. These freshmen they bring in, just incredible. And I don't care if it was Krzyzewski quit today. I would bring
He's going to
Becker.
He's going to be getting some offers.
Did you watch the game on? It was what?
It was on ESPN
computer?
Plus.
Because I don't deal with that. I listened to some of the game last night. Again, I finished
Because he gets
I
paid.
finished my walk
I think
to
he
Burton
gets paid
Island.
around 400.
I don't think he's that high. I'm thinking 275.
But I finished my walk to Burton Island, got back to the car at about 7:30 or so. Still a little nice moon, crescent moon. Anyway, pick up the UVM game, and at that point, I guess it was maybe even later. Early second half, and they're up by like 40 points or something.
Yeah.
They killed those guys.
Now, what an interesting game.
Binghamton
Saturday
Bearcats.
morning on ESPN
can you-
2.
Yeah.
So I'll be
11
recording at
11
11.
o'clock. You can give me
You'll be there, you got
You
tickets?
can give me, I think, the most famous or most well-known graduate of Binghamton, I assume, SUNY Binghamton. He's a sports guy. You know him well. We probably talked about this. Washington, D.C. based, talker and a writer, but very, very good. Tony Kornheiser.
Oh, Kornheiser went to
Binghamton
Binghamton?
Bearcat.
Right,
Yeah.
because they upset Stony Brook.
Right.
To get there-
beating it too.
Exactly. So we have Baltimore College, County, whatever you want to call
UMBC,
it.
University of Maryland, Baltimore County.
Played them twice this year. They beat us twice. So
Not to mention a year ago.
right, and we're playing great right now. However, I wouldn't put any money. I mean, those 2 wins have to mean something where they're going into the cat's den.
I would think
Pretty
with last year,
confident.
I'd like to, but yeah.
Right,
No,
they beat
no, they're a good
UVM in the
team.
conference
Good team.
championship
Not
last
to
year.
mention going on to
So
beat Virginia.
this is going to be exciting. So I don't even want to ask.
Last
David.
year, Becker could have gone to Duquesne.
Yeah, that
Is
sounds
that
right.
Iowa?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
No,
was
Duquesne's
PA,
in Pennsylvania.
Oh, it's Pennsylvania? Jeez.
His base pay is
Rates in Iowa.
$275, but I think,
Oh, I was right, 275.
But
I suspect
I think there's more.
Coach K's base pay maybe just like $5 million.
Well, he
Yeah,
probably gets a
doubles
free
that.
house to boot.
I thought I read somewhere it was 3 something.
Yeah.
I bet. I mean, there may be like summer camps. I mean,
But he's grossly underpaid.
Yeah.
as far as basketball,
Yeah,
As compared to what
say-
he can do.
He gets
and Snedden, do we
probably.
know is Snedden more than that?
Sned's probably getting about the same
Yeah,
money.
yeah. I would say Becker.
Snedley's grossly overpaid.
Yeah, I would say Becker probably being 10% of what he's worth. He's
I-
a $3.5 million.
No, I'd be concerned
coach.
about Becker. One of
And
these years, maybe moving
I
on.
think they enticed him with that new arena. I mean,
'Cause
that is going to be brand new. One end of it's all going to be sheer glass where you can see right out. It's going to be a gorgeous basketball arena.
Yeah, there's one other thing you should mention about the hockey game. What was maybe the most noteworthy thing about the hockey game? Who did you happen to spot between periods?
Stat boy that used to be, well,
You
it wasn't here.
You never do. He was way before your time.
No, Statboy was
Oh,
here.
You got him.
Okay, of course, we were at
I don't
BFA
spot it.
then.
Yeah, he's a UMass Lowell guy.
He
As
got
is his wife.
He got married, and got
their
married
arena.
by a JOP. They got married in their Lowell hockey jerseys.
At the arena.
And all the wedding party, it was a requisite. You have to wear a hockey jersey during the
wow.
wedding. And he showed us a picture. Really neat.
And guess what? They ended up, the Lowell Sun newspaper took note of this. They ended up on the front page of the Lowell Sun.
Yeah. So,
It was
and
great
that
to
was
see
really
Stat
neat.
Guy.
Stat Boy
Great
came
guy.
looking for us, and I holler out, Stat Boy!
Great guy.
Came up, chit-chatted with us.
But
for a little
no,
bit.
UVM Hoopsters, what a team. These guys are really impressive.
Yeah.
I sure hope they, get by UMBC and get in the
Well, they got their
tournaments.
hands full. UMBC's good.
Very good team.
Yeah. So I'll be down to Northfield Saturday night, 7 o'clock game. The Elite Eight of the NCAA Division III hockey.
Wow.
They play, thanks for telling me last week, University of New England from Portland, Maine.
From Portland, Maine. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
Yep.
we learned a lot of stuff on this show.
Yeah. And they win that. They're in the final
Portland's
four.
a fine town.
They're in the final four, and they will go to the highest seed, which I believe will be Wisconsin-Stevens Point. But
Have you already got
Norwich-
ticket? Will that be a sellout, Hawk? Do these games sell
okay,
out?
last game they had a bye last week in the first round. They had 2,157 people at the hockey game. I think
1,600 seats or
I
something?
think 14
So tons of standing room.
and a ton of stand. Now there are certain people that enjoy standing watch a hockey game.
You're not one of them.
I'd rather walk 20 miles than stand because it kills my back. But I can walk forever. But
So you have a seat.
exciting! Yeah, it's gonna be great.
You're such a great fan for that.
Yeah, so it's an hour. and a-
Crazy thing that Norwich almost outdrew UVM.
Yeah,
Yeah, really.
yeah. So I'm looking very forward to that.
And you get a double header, I assume, or
No, it's just
one.
Yeah, just
Norwich
one.
okay.
And
Is Middlebury in it or
now Middlebury has not been a good team in the last 10 years.
not since?
Really? Is that right? 10 years?
yeah.
Mr. Beanie
Yeah.
departed.
What time? Okay, David, Duke. I'm confused. News last night. Lead story was the college scandal.
big story.
Okay, call me stupid. Feel free.
Glad to see Duke wasn't one of
I-
the schools. Wake was in there.
Yeah, I just assumed that the Nighthawk
was
wants
just
his
on
daughter
merit, huh?
to go to Duke
I don't know that
University.
much about it, so
Okay.
you'll have to fill me in on it.
Here's a check for $500,000. My kid's not a very good student, but I want him to go to
But they're a
Duke.
good athlete.
Well, one of them.
And,
Well, part of the story,
I
David.
gave you the two
And I
most
can't remember the
well-known
school.
folks who've been charged. Two actresses.
One person,
USC was,
and
a
they
big
weren't
thing.
all famous people.
crew-
cut
the
a
crew
check,
team or something?
cut a check for $400,000 to have the women's soccer coach recruit their daughter who had never played soccer before. So she pocketed a cool $400,000.
You mean the soccer coach did?
Yes.
They for where at USC?
I don't know what school
USC
it
was
was,
one of the-
but
there
a
was
ton
a-
of coaches were fired yesterday. One was for a road team. Person
Crew,
never
two-
been on a boat
it was
before.
Two of the young women were recruited for a crew team.
Right.
They had done nothing.
So I just assumed that if somebody had the bucks, they can buy their way into school. Now, the FBI, one thing I'm finding out, you don't tick off the FBI. This guy, during the press conference, was mad. Rightly so.
Oh, you saw an FBI
because
guy?
he was saying this just cheats the student that works hard, studies hard. Didn't say, but I'll say the person had a 4.2 GPA in high school. Then you get a person of, multi-million dollars where the parent can cut a check for $500,000 and get them into school. And that girl from Full House, Laughlin, I think she was a $500,000.
They made nothing in
They
there.
showed
She's on the cover. She's one of the actresses on the cover.
they recorded her, and I don't know the technology, and she was there for school to party. She was
I
singing.
saw
Yeah.
the daughter's tape.
Right. And Q and the other sisters, Q, but they're just there to have fun.
But again, a lot of folks are thinking, maybe you suggested as much, and Dave, that this is probably just the tip of the iceberg and stuff. But
Again,
Well, it's all a fraud. And this guy here, this Howie Carr's got a thing here. How the beautiful people are complete and utter frauds. Only a handful of the 30-plus charged are Republicans, by the way. Mostly,
Howie loves stuff like this.
the pampered pukes are all here in the hundreds and hundreds of pages. TV star Felicity Huffman, rich New York lawyer, lives in Greenwich, Connecticut.
Greenwich. Yeah.
Greenwich, California vineyard order. And there's a couple from Hillsborough, California, wanted to get their kid into UCLA, so they forked over $251,000 worth of Facebook stock in 2016 to, and then they asked the guy, William Singer, Mr. Big of the conspiracy, to confirm in writing that the $250,000 would be returned in the event their daughter didn't get final admission to UCLA.
Yeah, Mr. Singer did some serious singing.
Well, it just the whole college
Howie,
thing.
for the record's a UNC boy.
Yeah.
Loving that they beat the Dukies, of course.
Oh, is that where he went to school?
yeah.
You know, Howie
we
Carr.
have the same birthday, actually. In fact, I have a vague memory. I almost think I met him once down there. Howie, of course, you know, I mean, Howie loves to beat up on the beautiful people. For the record, a Deerfield grad, a prep school guy.
So he's one of the.
Although I think his line is he was one of the poor kids who somehow got in. But
He's on the Tucker Carlson show every once in a while.
Yeah.
I think Howie Carr's got the best radio show out there, and I don't know how he never got
it's entertaining.
a
It can
show
drive me
on
crazy.
Fox News, because this guy
Well, of course,
is
he's-
smart and he's funny.
And he's he's very, very conservative,
Yeah.
but he's had his Herald column for
Yeah.
years and does a lot of TV.
Now I gotta tell you something. I shouldn't deviate, but I'll be as quick as I can. I'm reading a book right now on James K. Polk, president
Really?
after Tyler.
Yeah.
If you think we got stuff going on today, those guys had just as much or more. The press was bad. They were fighting then over the annexation of Texas.
Really?
And the real big deal with the annexation of Texas, of course, was that Texas was big enough they were going to make 4 or 5 slave states out of it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you had all of the balance between the slaves.
They were thinking of going into Mexico, weren't they thinking of going way south of Texas too? or
Well, that had to be figured out because they didn't know where the actual boundary line was. But Texas was annexed, and they couldn't do it. They tried doing it with a treaty with Texas, but it got rejected by the Senate. The president at the time, Tyler.
Can you wait? Let me stop.
Texas being a republic, its
Texas
own-
was an independent republic.
Lone
Refresh
Star
my
State,
memory.
of course.
Tippy Canoe and Tyler too.
Tippy Canoe was Harrison.
That was Harrison.
Benjamin Harrison.
Okay.
Benjamin. What happened? Benjamin Harrison was elected president, I think, in 1840. He died 41 days after inauguration.
Right.
Because he didn't wear a hat and a ring.
Right. He didn't wear a coat during the inauguration. Got
really?
pneumonia and died a month later.
And so
really?
the vice president was Tyler. Harrison was a Whig. Tyler was really a Democrat. So what happened while Tyler was president all 4 years, the Whigs didn't take him in, and the Democrats really chewed him up. And there was the Democratic newspaper, and the editor was Blair. I can't remember his last name. You should see the stuff they were writing. And what I'm getting at is everybody's so wound up about how the press is bad today and how everything. It's not any different than it was then. And you had South Carolina, going back to Jackson, every 2-3 years was ready to leave the Union. You had that whole nullification crisis, and they're worried about tariffs. And Jackson said, "You guys leave, and we'll send the army in." We've got nothing today
Right.
compared
but what
to that.
they didn't have is 24-hour cable news. I mean, you got rid of.
Right. Well, although there were a million papers as we have.
There were a
hardly
million
anything.
papers,
exactly.
and every town had a
You're right.
paper that was a mouthpiece for
Wow.
each party.
Yep.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So anyway, just to throw that out
Well,
there.
David, I must say you're the first person I've ever met that has read a book on James Polk.
Actually, this is my second one on Polk.
That's impressive. I think there's a new book out on our buddy Chester R. I think there's The Unexpected President or something.
I think I read that one.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Is that-
So I want your take, Duke, if you
I
don't
did read
mind.
that one.
Go
Did
back to
Yeah.
sports. Chris Sale's first appearance is Saturday. What should I take out of him not partaking?
Oh, they've been
for the
doing
first
that,
one?
not take nothing, because they've done that to all their pitchers. None of their main starters, except for Eduardo Rodriguez, has even pitched. Maybe just now they're starting to pitch in a game.
Because they played so late in the
Yeah,
season.
they purposely held
Okay.
all these guys back for 2 weeks. Take nothing out of
Okay,
it. Zero. Evaldi pitched today, and I'm not even sure it was a regular game. 98, 99 mile an hour
So
fastball. But they've had a brutal spring. I think they won. They were the top grapefruit league team last year, and Cora was very happy with that.
Yep.
They had lost 6 in a row going out. They've been horrible.
Their bullpen is a mess.
But they've held out the starters. They're only now starting to pitch.
Yeah. Bullpen.
And also, the worst news today was Mr. Martinez, a tight back. He's had a horrible spring. I guess he's not a big spring training guy. 1 for 17 or something, but a tight back. That I heard Buster Olney on intern Nick's show for a while, and that sounded like, according to him, that was maybe the worst news of the day.
Now,
anyway,
the Chicago Cubs have had a couple key injuries in their bullpen, so there was internet chatter about possibly the Cubs signing Craig Kimbrell.
Kimbrell
Right.
said nobody's grabbed him. Huh?
No, but let me show you an example. The Nats today, a great March 13th signing. They signed, you know him better than I do, he pitched for the Astros, Tony Sipe, 35 years old, left-hand pitcher. He pitched in 54 games last year with a 1.86 ERA.
Wow.
And batters hit 193 against him.
Nobody had
we
signed?
got him 1-year contract for $1.25 million.
Is that right?
Now,
Why didn't a bunch of
is
other
Craig
teams go
Kimbrell
after this guy?
15 times better than that? No.
Huck, why wouldn't somebody else have gone after this guy?
Well, I think the statistic there was to the right of his name, 35. Might have scared him off.
And speaking of Houston, Dennis Keuchel, am I pronouncing?
Dallas Keuchel.
Dallas Keuchel.
Sorry. It's
Still out there.
Is he still out there?
See, I will not take.
Kimbrell is still out there.
Yeah,
huh?
I won't take the Phillies as a serious contender until if they sign Keuchel, it'll be a different matter. They don't have enough
Dallas.
pitchers.
Well, I think Keuchel wants $100 million.
What does he think? Does he think in mid-March somebody's going to
Well,
do that?
the trouble with Keuchel is he's got a pretty good track record. The problem with Keuchel is that he's a 90-mile-an-hour pitcher.
Yep.
And they're all thinking he's going to age poorly.
Yeah.
So,
But if you're any of these guys, wouldn't you answer the phone for, 1 year, $5 million or anything at this point?
The only answer I could
What do
have
they think they're waiting for?
it's just an opinion, is pride. You
Pride?
know, they're
so
athletes.
they'd rather just sit
Yeah,
it out. Huh?
they absolutely.
Maybe for the rest of their careers.
Yeah, ask Le'Veon Bell, Le'Veon Bell. He sat out the whole year
he
because he
didn't
felt he was undervalued.
he didn't get any more money. He would have got
$15 million. He threw away $15 million.
He threw away $15 million. He got a contract that's about what he would have got or less, because he didn't get that much. But you're right, and those guys all compare, and they whatever the other guys get, and they all want to get.
Right. You know,
Really?
like I'm hearing
That's
talk.
unreal.
Odell Beckham isn't the highest paid receiver anymore because Antonio Brown, who signed with the Raiders, is. There's talk that he wants to be paid higher than Brown, so you're going to start getting that crap.
But
Now, another interesting little tidbit that I read, I think I might have mentioned a couple weeks ago that Troy Tulowitzki was ripping the cover off the ball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Troy Tulowitzki hasn't had a hit in 2 weeks.
Okay, it's all right. Yeah.
and there's
Spring training. I've been
Spring
giving the
training
Red
you
Sox
can't really
just
count.
about zero attention.
But
they have had a lousy spring.
The statistic you need to be concerned about is there a health sheet? Are they healthy?
Right.
The season starts in March this
Like I
year.
said,
March 28th.
March 28th. And of course, you have two teams playing. Where are they playing? China on March
Japan.
20? Japan. The first official game is
Yeah.
March 20. They're playing 8 days ahead of everybody else.
And
Yeah, March 28th.
Well, Duke, let me ask you this. The bullpen is a little
Of course, the bullpen
disarray
folks
for
say,
the
of
Red
course,
Sox.
we're going to be fine.
The Red Sox aren't going to hit the panic button and invite Kimbrell back to the ball club.
I'd give them a call for like maybe $5 million or something, but
well,
no,
they were.
they're not paying.
And
big,
Kimbrell's not going to take $5 million.
They already
did you-
said. No, they already said.
Did the Red
see ya.
Sox not tender him, or did they?
They did.
They
Oh, yeah,
did
and
tender
he,
him.
and he rejected it.
He rejected it.
For what? How much? 17 million. Crazy,
Oh, yeah,
man.
they did.
Yeah.
Now they were talking about the Red Sox today too on the radio, and a couple of the guys were really, oh geez, they've got nobody, they got Brazier and whatever stiff comes along.
Barnes.
Barnes.
I'm not. For the record, I'm not losing. I'm not
They
losing
were
a lot
saying,
of
hey,
sleep
look,
over this.
if the Red Sox are probably looking at the rest of the American League, they could have the three of us pitch the ninth inning and still get in the playoffs.
And their starting pitching, for the record, looks like it. If those guys stay healthy.
Yeah.
If Price keeps it up as he finally I mean, their starting pitching might be
The Red
best in
Sox
baseball.
are in reality
And
a
evolve-
very
Well, in
strong
the
team.
American League, it's
The
certainly
one
not.
signing, I love the Evaldi
There's
signing.
nobody in baseball better
There's-
than the Nationals pitching staff 1 through 5.
And
But I'm just saying, it looks like if they stay healthy, it should be very
there's
good
only one
starting
team the
pitching.
Red Sox have to worry about,
Oh,
and
the
that's the
Yankees.
Yankees. Maybe 2.
Although
Houston.
Tampa, geez, 90, that's unreal those guys
Oh.
won 90 games last year.
Did Kevin Cash win Manager of the Year
Boy, if
last
I think
year?
he did.
If he didn't,
and
he sure as
he's
heck
the guy
should've.
that stole the Nighthawks strategy, Kevin
the-
Cash,
of the,
and it
bullpen.
worked.
The opener.
The opener.
Oh, yeah, no, I trust you'll get your royalties at some
No,
point
it'll
in your
never
life.
happen.
But anyways, they were saying, look, the last time the Red Sox had pitching is in much of a state of flux as this was 2003.
Really?
And when they picked up Bung Young Him or
Yep,
Him or whatever
from
his name was.
Arizona.
And that, of course, we know how that season ended up. That ended up with Aaron Boone. But then the next year they picked
Next
up
year
Keith
they
Folt.
did okay.
Yep,
And-
Keith Falk was good.
But what they were saying is, hey, look, if it looks bad, the Red Sox can pick up plenty of bullpen pitchers
I'm
by
not-
June or
I'm
July.
not. I'm losing no sleep over
absolutely.
that issue.
So listen, 4 minutes left. TPC.
Yeah, tomorrow,
The 5th
hours.
major tomorrow. Tigers
And
playing
it is
in
the
it.
best field. It's literally the best field.
Yeah.
I mean,
All top 50.
compared to the Masters, which is an invite, no, the Masters feels pathetic compared to TPC.
Yeah, this is bad. Now, I ask you every year, and I
Tigers
forget,
back.
Ponta Verda Beach.
Ponte Vedra.
Ponta Vedra. Where's that?
Been there, Florida, up by Jacksonville.
By
A little
Jacksonville.
north of Jacks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been to that course?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And in the old days, when I had my main southern trip, catching some spring training, I caught that for at least a couple of years. Beautiful, beautiful.
Did
course.
you inquire about green fees and playing there?
No, I caught the tournament.
Oh, you
there when it
actually
was in
saw
March.
around?
Oh, yeah, I
Okay.
saw TPC.
So-
No, I saw TPC when it was in
Duke,
March years ago.
Can a slug go there
Yes.
in
And
April
and-
and pay green fees
Oh,
and
I think
play in
so.
No,
the-
I have no.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a private course.
Yeah. I'm
I don't
just
think
here to
it's
watch the
cheap.
Like
tournament.
Pebble Beach, you can play, but that's around $500 green fees
Yeah,
to play around.
you can probably play there. I'm sure it's going to cost you a
Yeah.
big bucko. I just caught the tournament there a couple of years.
Yeah. I can assure you,
And it's a beauty. Well, you see it on TV, obviously.
if I got the notice of impending death with cancer, I would open up my checkbook and I would fly out to California and play Pebble
Oh,
Beach.
I would like to play Pebble
And
Beach,
I
too.
would probably
Wouldn't mind
go
playing Pebble.
a couple golf courses saying, boy, you know what I'm saying? So I might as well have fun.
If you're going to Pebble, you might as well go to the other two on Monterey too.
Spyglass is one.
Spyglass, I guess, is spectacular
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, we'll see. You'll at least be able to see Pebble for 4 days. The U.S. Open
Yep.
is at Pebble.
Yeah.
Also, so yeah, TPC tomorrow. What about the Celtics? I was feeling better about them. Only, how can you 140 points? That's what the Clipper 140 to what 115. Celtics had won 3 straight games. Everybody's feeling better. Then the Clippers totally destroyed
Clipped
them.
them.
So
But,
Duke,
Mark, I did take note of it. Was Mr. Gasper, Mr. Bolin in the Globe yesterday. It was a long story on Kyrie, and it basically was, let Kyrie be Kyrie. Don't lose sleep over him. He's a very talented player who's, a little different. Anybody who loses sleep over him, just let him be his thing and don't.
he's a great player. Great.
And this is one of the
Just doesn't
Celtic
make the team better.
This is one
Now,
of the Celtic beat writers who just said, don't, he's going to do his thing, however crazy he is at times.
The basketball players are a lot like wide receivers.
Yes,
But
they are.
his comment
He is
was,
a diva.
don't, anybody who thinks the
best
Celtics are better
thing
without
I heard
him is
in
crazy, is what he
NBA,
said.
Charles Barkley, I believe, said it.
Oh, Barkley's miserable is what he called him.
He said Kevin Durant does not have the guts to go play with the Knicks because I lambasted him. He could have been the man with the Celtics.
Yeah.
I thought he would, but
If
he
he's
wants
having trouble with the media in San Fran and
Yeah,
Oakland.
He
Yeah.
he
New
didn't
York?
want to be the man.
Crazy?
So he coattailed stuff on Curry, and he can go play with the Knicks with Irving next year. But Barkley said he doesn't have the guts. He doesn't want to be the man.
And also, he got into Irving, too, in one of the stories I read. Just said, Sir Charles just saying, this guy looks miserable to me. I think Kyrie's just a very different kind of guy.
But I don't like different kind of guys.
Hey, March Madness just days away,
Right.
Selection Sunday. I
Yeah.
think the Dukies, courtesy of the Tar Heels beating him, no big deal. I think they're down to a number 2 seed.
Well, unless they win the ACC.
Although Gonzaga lost last night to
Okay.
St. Mary's, but
Yeah.
they're not going to put 3 ACC
Yeah.
teams as 3 of the 4 number 1 seeds. Dukies will be a number 2, I
Yeah.
think.
So quickly, we got 30 seconds. UVM, 14th seed, probably.
Well, they got to beat UMBC.
Right,
If they
gotta
beat,
win.
if they beat
Right, if they-
13, 14, 14.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, if they lose NIT, so
And if they lose, UMBC is probably a 16 seed.
And again, the Virginia Cavaliers, my pick if the
yes,
Dukies
you
can't
did
do
for
it
months.
for
So that's it.
champs.
We ran out of show.
Ran out of
For
time.
Zach, Super Dave, the Duke. I'm going to use my same thing as I did last week. Remember, folks, a library card is free, but knowledge is priceless. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Yeah.